laws. Otherwise, all this shit is bullshit. I didn't want to tell you who today's guest is, but he's a real one.
Yo,
Bun B.
what up, my brother?
That's Texas, baby. Funky, that's Houston, baby. My
Don
brother
Cartagena.
Bun B.
Oh man, what a day!
Thank you for doing this for me. And the people, the Fat Joe Show, the Big Show, Trillis in the game. Break down your day to me.
I'm just now really getting to the car, heading back home. Today we
Could
brought
you
the
tell
city of
us what
Houston together.
happened, Bun?
Well, obviously, we all know about the death of George Floyd right now, right? Murdered by 4 police in Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd is actually from Houston. He's from Third Ward. He's from the hood, Cutie Home Projects. And we wanted to make sure that Houston had a chance to represent for him because he's ours. Even though he did die in Minneapolis, he's a hometown boy, and we wanted to, take this opportunity to bring the city together, unify us, unite us in solidarity against racism, against police brutality, and the systemic racism that continues to operate on the streets of America. And so we put out the call for the city to come together. We met downtown, and we were 60,000 people strong today. Yeah, so I don't think anyone has ever put that kind of a grassroots movement together before in the history of the city. We had 60,000 people. We prayed for him. We marched for him. We protested for him. His family was involved, so we lifted the family up. We poured love on them, let them know that we stood with them, and we will continue to stand with them. So I spoke. The brother Traded Truth, who actually co-organized this with me. We spoke to the city. The mayor spoke. The mayor, opened up the city to us. You know what I'm saying? Allowed us to walk the streets. The police blocked off the streets for us to walk and march from Discovery Green, which is a park in the center of downtown Houston, over to City Hall. And even though we appreciate their cooperation, I had to call them out on the stage, and I thank the police chief, but I told them we're going to demand transparency. When your people do something wrong in the city, we're going to hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to demand action. I
You know
told the
what's
mayor
crazy,
and
Bun?
elected officials. Go ahead, Joe.
I saw this statistic of cops killing people in the thousands, and only one has been charged for killing. So imagine if you have a temper, you hot-headed, you stressed out, you're arguing with your wife, but yet you got total immunity to walk the streets and kill who you want, hurt whoever you want. And the statistics is there. The numbers are there. So this ain't something that we just talking about. This is a fact. They killed black and brown people, and they never held accountable.
Can I tell you a statistic I saw? Michael Vick spent more time in prison for dogfighting than the last 495 police officers that killed a person in America.
Wow, you going in and out, Bun. I didn't hear you. Say that again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Joe? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you get you're breaking up.
Yeah, we're trying to leave from where all the people are, and I'm trying
I
to get
get
you a
it.
better
I
signal.
get it. But what to bring that tell me the same thing you just said a little while ago, because I didn't catch it.
All right, so Michael Vick, who we all know, quarterback. Michael Vick did more time for dogfighting than the last 495 police officers that killed a man on the streets of America combined. Combined. That's sickening. Look, I'm not a dog person, so I don't know how dog people feel about that.
No, we
You know what
hate
I'm
it.
saying?
I got a dog. I don't like it. Mike Vick is family to me. He's a brother to me. But, you know, it was irresponsible. But in any case, there's no way a dog's life is worth as much as 495 human lives.
Not at all. Not even remotely. You know what I'm saying? And if the dog people want to come after me, so be it. I'm just speaking the truth right now. And you know, when this first happened, like I didn't know George Floyd personally. He was a part of the hip hop community. He was an extended member of the Screwed Up Clique. I didn't know Big Floyd personally. But my brother and your brother, Stephen Jackson, Stephen considered him a brother. They called each other twin because they favor
Yeah.
heavily. And when I saw how much pain Stack was in, like, I'm all in. Like whatever you need, I'm there. So when he said that he was going to go to Minneapolis to stand with the people, I went to Minneapolis and stood with the people. Me and my brother Traded Truth, who helped me put on the march today. And you know, we're not gonna stand for this. Like, I don't know how everybody else feel about it. I don't know what their level of indifference or how they feel connected to it or not or whatever. But I'm not finna stand for this. And I know the power I got. I know the level of influence I got, and I'm not gonna sit on that. I'm not gonna hide behind my privilege. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I call it. We've been able to get into places. We get the good table. You know, we get our Jordans from Mike. You know, so there's a level of privilege that we've been afforded. Now, don't get me wrong, we earned it. We got it in a real way. We earned it. None of it was given to us, and we definitely weren't born with it, right? But we're willing to not only acknowledge our privilege, but step from behind it, brothers and sisters, in the struggle. You know. So I just
I
wonder
believe
why other
that's
people who
happening.
have privilege won't.
I believe that's happening now. Like when you see the blackout, Tuesday blackout, you see all us speaking up. Even the celebrities that usually play it safe are posting up with everybody, the unity. But unless we change these laws that were made to keep us down, it was all for nothing.
And so
And
that's why
that's
today on this stage, I demanded that they pass legislation. Like that was my thing. I thank the mayor for having us, but I demanded policy reform, and it starts locally. So I told them we need independent community board review. We need the subpoena power to subpoena the evidence in these cases, and we need to be in a position where when the police either can't or won't police themselves, that's why we need these independent review boards in the community, so that we can take charge when these people commit these crimes against us. I asked for a lower threshold in police citations because the brother that kneeled on the neck, the cop that kneeled on the neck of our brother George Floyd had 17 prior citations for misconduct on duty. He's not supposed to even be able to still be a cop. And the other thing is, when these cops do build up all these citations and they finally get taken off the force, they're allowed to transfer to another city, start with a clean slate, like their citations don't even follow them. So this dude can do
right.
all that damage in Minneapolis, right? They fire him, take his badge from him, and he'll just move to another city in America and kill more people. That shit ain't right, you know? And,
And what's
and so,
crazy is I tell my daughter, she just turned 14, to watch what she's doing in middle school because it'll follow her record to high school. And here you telling me this cops can have 17 citations, go become a police officer in another state and start brand new and fresh.
yeah, with a clean slate. And they won't hold any of those citations against him. He'll go right on duty, put him dead in the uniform. He's not gonna even have to start at the desk. He's gonna go right on the street, stalking and terrorizing that community. That shit is weak. And I'm
My
cognizant
thing
of this
is,
stuff. Like I'm conscious.
my thing is, how could people, even police officers, stand by and act like it was fair? Do you know we pay the police? That the craziest shit is we pay the police. No, I mean, if
Tell
you
me,
really just think it in normal terms, we pay the police.
what other industry operates in a way where you pay somebody to do a job at your company, but you don't even get to choose who gets to do the job? That'd be like if I open a restaurant and some dude walk in one day and tell me I'm the chef. Where's the kitchen? Where's the refrigerator? Move around. How much steak we got? Give me some more steak.
Well, you
You
know
wouldn't
what?
stand for that.
You know what? You know, you ever noticed now if you're using your woke eye or, you know, and you look at the craziest jobs, the jobs with asbestos, construction, they give the black brothers and the brown brothers those jobs. Or jobs that are jobs, you know, they get paid for it. But if you look at it 100 years ago, that would be a slave's job with pay.
Indentured
But
servitude.
hold up, but we hire white cops in communities of color where they never grew up. They don't know the language. They don't know how to deal with us. It's like a fish out of water. So how come they're able to get these jobs with total immunity, but we don't see enough of our people there?
Think about it.
Also,
No.
shame.
Wow.
Shame on our people. Shame. Shame on our people that are police officers and watch this shit go down and don't do nothing. Shame. I wouldn't feel like a man. I don't know how to not feel like a man. I'm a stand-up dude all the time. But imagine I was a cop and I see them whipping down some Puerto Rican dude and abusing them, and I'm standing there acting like I don't see what's going on. Shame.
It's wild, man, the world that we have to live in and raise our kids in. You look at how the police patrol the community. Imagine we sitting outside in front of the crib, we smoking, we drinking, and we playing dominoes. Now, you know a game of dominoes can get real intense. The language can get wild and crazy. And if you don't know the community and you don't know how people act when they're playing dominoes, you would think there's a disturbance. You would think you got to break up a disturbance. So then you're going to get out of your police car. You're going to engage the people. You got to tell them to chill out, all of this type of stuff, and create a situation where there really was none, because you don't understand the community and the way we communicate with each other. You know, if cats on the corner arguing about Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas or something like that, these conversations get intense. Dudes get to hollering, and it's just all, you know, it's noise. It's not anger, right? It's not anger. This is the personalities that we carry, and they don't have any concept of what it is. They'll move like they need to break up a disturbance on the corner. They're overdoing shit because they don't have a frame of reference, and they don't want to have a frame of reference. And it doesn't make sense to put people who don't understand the community, who don't look like the people in the community, in positions of authority in those communities. They're going to misrepresent situations and mishandle situations constantly. You know, they don't know how to interact with us. They don't know how to talk to us. They don't know how to
My thing
communicate.
is, from at what point does at what point does you become a police officer? Cool, you protecting, you serving. At what point does it become, this is my new family, the police force. I'm a cop. I'm gonna be with the blue wall of silence and fuck my family, right? Because every one of them have cousins, aunts, uncles, family. At what point do they join police officers and feel like fuck regular people, it's us against everybody?
Day one.
They teach
Day
them that
one.
shit, right?
Day one. Because when a cop, goes through the academy, right? They talk to them about engagement, interactions, and all that type of shit. And then they get, they pass the academy, they get their, certification to be a police officer. They go to a community, they get hired as a police officer, and then they get trained internally. So basically everything that they're taught in the academy goes out the window. They say, you're a rookie. You go out with this guy. He's been on patrol in this neighborhood for 7 years. That guy's going to tell you that you need to move a certain way and that you can't trust none of these people. And if something happens, only we are going to help you in that situation. So you make sure that you remember the code, that, our code, blew over everything. And that's where they get it from. They get it from the first days on the job, right? And like I know, Joe, it's like prison. It's like, you go into prison, you've never been to prison before. Somebody's going to see you, peep that, pull you to the side, and they're going to be like, yo, stick with me. I got you. That's the setup. That's the setup.
It's disgusting.
They get you from day one.
And now you're like numb because you're only going to bars that cops go to. You're trying to marry
Right.
another cop. Us cops stay together, us this. And it turns into a fraternity of guys who think the same, and they no longer part of our family because they're like desensitized. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but they're like numb to being human. And
No,
so
that's
when you
definitely
see
the right
people
term.
protesting, they're screaming at them, brother, you're killing us. They murdered George. Please, they jumping jacks. My brother, family. But the cops are looking at it. We're going to fuck y'all up. We're going to lock y'all up with your back. So it's amazing to me. It's always been amazing to me. So when I see black and brown police officers, sometimes, the black police showing up for the white man.
White cop.
Like, that shit been happening since the beginning of time. And I feel like this is the time. I know white people have protested in the 60s and the civil rights, but never like this. In Houston, was it a diverse crowd out there?
Absolutely. There's a ton of white people out there, a ton of Mexican people out there, Asian people, people of Indian descent. Like everybody was out there. Like white people are starting to realize that if they don't stand up and they don't voice themselves, at the worst they're indifferent to racism and murder. At the most they're complicit. And people now realize that, they had all the excuses in the world. Well, we weren't there. We don't know what really happened. It's his word against theirs. Like, we just need to sit back and let justice do its job and all that type of goofy shit. And now there's video, smartphones and security cameras changed the game. So the whole world saw George Floyd be murdered. And they saw the lead
Hey,
up
how
to it.
about the cop who killed him saw it too and ain't give a fuck?
Smirked. He
In
was
the fucking
smirking.
video, knowing he's killing the man and looking at him like, hey, you ain't checked the last 10,000 cases? I ain't getting charged for this shit. That's all. Yo, bro, that's all his face said to me. This guy's filming him to be like, yo, ain't you scared? You on camera? Be like, hell no. 10,000 motherfuckers got away with this. You think I ain't getting away with it?
Somebody on here just said white people get shot and killed by police too. Why y'all ain't as mad as we are then? Somebody told me that the other day.
But listen, they at the rallies and they out there, and so I would believe them. White people get just killed just as much.
I'm not saying that they're not. I would believe that because they're the majority in this country, they probably get killed at a higher rate with numbers, but not per capita.
But what they should say, Bun, is white poor people get shot as much as blacks and brown. White poor people. Rich people, they get away with it.
Yeah, that's a condition in America. If you're looked at as less than in this country, no matter what your color is, you got problems.
I'm gonna tell you something. I seen something today, and I tell everybody on here, go check it out. Steve Rifkin, one of my mentors, on his Instagram. His wife is black. His kids are half black, half white. His son posted something. He got 2 sons. His son posted, "Hey, I'm half black. I identify as a black man, but I look white." And anytime he had an interaction with the cops, he was like, "Hey, buddy, no problem. Cross over here, no this." Meanwhile, Steve Rifkin's other son, half black, half white, but looks black. Steve Rifkin's son saying, "I watched the police treat my brother, my blood brother, same mother, same father, different than me because he's dark skinned." Oh, this is the deepest shit I ever seen in my life, one. And he says, "So I watched my mother have to explain to my brother stuff that they would never even explain to me. Like, yo, you color, when the cops stop you, put your hands on the car, know how to talk." This is his brother. Same mother, same father. He was just born light-skinned white, and his brother brown skin. I've never seen nobody talk like that in my life. And I'm sitting there, and he's just like, "Yo, look, it just ain't the same. It ain't the same. They treat him different because he looks white. They treat his brother a different way." And that's the realest shit I ever seen. Dealing with racism and dealing with what we dealing with today. And the speeches they gave his brother, they never had to give him. It's sad, but it's true.
And it's a level of awareness that he has for it too, like you said, because he's watching his mother tell his brother, because you got brothers, your mama come in there, look, both of y'all, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, both of y'all. With the 2 boys, one with the lighter skinned boy and one with the darker skinned boy. They got to have different instructions on how to move in life.
I never seen no shit like that in my life. It was probably the realest shit I ever seen.
By the crib, the signal gets bad. We live in a strange time, but I got hope. I stand out there in front of those 60,000 people, and I see the diversity that the city of Houston has, and it give me hope. It give me hope for the future, because I get out there and we do all of this because we want it to be better for our children. I'm a grandfather now. I got 6 grandkids. I want a better life for them. My son just came to the realization this weekend with all of this happening that as the father of black children, that his kids could die just for being black. He never had to come. Like, you know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So he never had to have that conversation. Look, when you drive to the store and all of that, like we used to have with them. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt him to his heart that that's the world that his children have to grow up in. And I told him, I said, look, this is why it's important for me to move a certain way. I can't just tell you about these things. I have to move a certain way so you can see how I move. So that, you know, God forbid, if you still have to deal with this 10, 15, 20 years from now, that you know how to move in front of your children. Because you can tell your children good shit all the time, but that don't mean they're going to listen. But when they see you move a certain way, that's what they're going to imitate.
You know, my father, I watched my father wasn't a tough guy. My father ain't a gangster. My father's always a hardworking man, a baker, carpenter. One night we left the Chinese restaurant when I was a kid, maybe 8 years old, and I watched the police pull my father over. And they asked him for license registration. He gave it to him, but he's Cuban. He's talking in Spanish. So they asked him, he said, me no speaking English. And they saying, this is America. Tell me in English. He's like, me no speaking English. He's like, no, this is fucking America. Answer me in English. He gave him his license and registration. I watched it on a rainy day. Them take my father out the car, handcuffed him, and put him in jail because he didn't know English, bro. You know, we watch shit like this all the time. We can go on forever with police harassment. But I think now we have to stop asking people, what do we do now? What do we do? No, let's do. Let's change the legislation. Let's do what we got to do to get this shit right now. The white people, I'm looking at TV now. The white people acting like they with us, fuck it. Let them be with us right now. Let's get some laws passed to protect brown and black people.
Period.
And we got to go vote as if our lives depended on it.
And here's the problem with the voting, right? I was telling people the other day, if all you ever saw was bad, right? It's going to be very hard for people to convince you that there's good. That's the problem with politicians. It's hard to convince people that there's a good candidate to vote for when all they've ever seen are bad politicians. You know? It's the same thing for people with privilege. That's why they're so shocked when they see these crimes happen to black people, because they have no frame of reference. All they've ever seen is a good, privileged life, living in the bubble, you know what I'm saying, going to, you know, do whatever it is they do in their life. They never have those interactions with the police. The police are always friendly. They're helpful. They give them directions. They carry groceries to the car, all of that type of shit. And so when you tell them that there are crooked police in America that kill people, they're shocked. It's hard for them to believe that because they've never seen it.
I got friends that are privileged. They got money, and they looking at me like I'm crazy and I try to explain to them. I say, yo, people are poor, man. People ain't got no money. People getting beat up. People been getting harassed. But for like 100 years, and now they all speaking up. And but yo, they rioting, they this. I said, yo, bro, they've been oppressed for too long. And I
Way
said,
too
you
long.
and me, we talk about what lobster we gonna eat, or where we're going on vacation. They
How
don't
do you
know
like
that
your
shit.
steak? Do you know what I'm saying?
They ain't got no shit like that.
Their worst
And
problem would be
so,
like, yo, you think we can get a table tonight? Type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we go to
you
dinner
ain't.
with people and, you know, motherfuckers are fighting to throw that black card on the table to pay for dinner. People don't see that. Poor people don't see that. Poor people poor people don't have to decide where they're going to get dinner. They got to decide how they're going to get dinner.
Man, let me tell you the legendary interview when Tupac was telling the guy, hey, man, we could walk in that hotel room over there and they got look like Thanksgiving. And they throwing salamis in there. We like, we hungry, let us see. And then we come back another week, we starving. and you still having food parties and you telling us you ain't got nothing. Now like, we hungry. We hungry. He said, wait a month, come back for that food. It's like, motherfucker, I'm gonna pick the lots and start blasting. Give me some food. It's like, and right now, it's not just about Big George as much as it is. It's about a whole spectrum of things. You got 40 million people without work. You got poor health care. You got lack of opportunity. And police harassment and brutality and fucked up laws. So all this shit together is like a melting pot of, hey, there's so many different elements out there just causing a disturbance to letting us know we need a change in the system.
But we got to fight for that change, because oppressed people have never been given justice. Everything they've ever wanted in this world, they got to fight for that shit. They're not going to give us what we want. That's why we have to march. We have to stand up. Look at Minneapolis. If they hadn't started doing what they did in the city of Minneapolis, that cop might still not even be in prison,
Oh, yeah.
in jail.
He wouldn't have been in jail. Not Mike. He wouldn't have been in jail. I think the whole adding the gas to the fire was that first press conference they had. They were like, well, we're looking at different evidence that makes us feel a different, like, people were like, oh, no. We ain't going for that shit. Like
you need more evidence. No, you don't
time.
need more evidence.
Not this time. And you saw them trying to finesse it so the cop don't get in trouble. Now,
And they're still finessing it with the other three. They still finessing it with the other three.
Aubrey, those two white men don't go to jail.
Facts.
So it's like, we got no choice but to do this shit. Now, where I have a problem, not a small problem, a big problem. And I know how to be broke. I know I've robbed, I've stole, I've hustled. I am wrong of everything. But burning down our communities and robbing our communities so that the businesses don't come back, I don't see it, Bun. I cannot agree with it. Now, I know if I'm 17, 18, broke, I probably be with them niggas. Not probably, I would be with them.
That's what I said.
20-year-old
Bun B would have been in them streets. Know that.
Me too. Right? But I'm wise enough to know, damn, man, a month from now, the hood gonna be fucked up, burnt down. We done scared off some. In Philly, they started the shit. Philly got the gun license. The white boys stood in front of their businesses with them AR-15s like, I dare y'all motherfuckers come loot this shit. What they did, they made a U-turn. They went to Germantown, and they broke into black and brown businesses and fucked their hood up. Because they couldn't get in there because those guys had the machine guns.
Right.
So, like, that's all I'm saying is, like, I'm not going to lie to people. You got the innocent protesters in the morning, and then you got motherfuckers waiting for 9 o'clock to hit to go break into Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and everything else. And it's making us look crazy.
But you know, Joe, that's where we are when it comes to self-worth, right? We live in a time where if you don't have, high brand luxury clothes on, if you don't have that belt and them shoes and that shirt and the jewelry, then you don't have no value, right? Your life is not lit. It's not all the way up for you. You know what I'm saying? And so it don't surprise me that that's immediately what they go for, right? Because it's all about reclaiming your humanity and your dignity. But so many young people in inner cities, their dignity and the way they present themselves to the world, it's not by character, right? It's by presentation. And so that's why they go straight to that. Like, I've been denied this. I'm finna go break in the Gucci store. Now I'm somebody. You know what I'm saying? Now it's good. It's good for me now. It's a complex situation, man. Like, we got
It
a lot
is,
of
and I
things.
never knew, right? Because I see certain celebrities trying, right? Certain celebrities are just like way out of reach, where they've been so big for so long, they so rich, and I thought, being that they grew up poor, we championed them, we happy for them. So they turn around and they usually, because there's a lot of them who have never spoke up on these issues before, that are trying to say, you know what? I see what's going on. Let me post something. And I see everybody attacking them. Like, fuck you, you've been rich your whole life. You've been this and this and that. I seen that happen to LL Cool J, my idol. Yo, you've been rich your whole life, motherfucker, since you 16. Fuck that. Don't talk about shit, this and this. And I'm like, sitting there and sit down. So now if somebody done made it out the hood, worked their ass off, I'm starting to see that there's a certain element of people within our own people that are mad that they're successful.
Well, they mad both ways, right? They mad both ways. If you ain't getting money, you a broke boy. You know what I'm saying? And they ridicule you for that. They harass you for that. If you're getting too much money, you know what I'm saying? Are you out of touch with the hood? You know what I'm saying? So it's a fucked up dynamic that we have with each other in the inner cities. You know, we don't lift up the poor, and we don't give credit for the ones that made it the right way. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes, you know, outside all this police brutality, because obviously those are things that we don't do anything to incite the violence with police against us, right? Nobody wants a cop to kill them, right? Not anybody in their right mind with their sanity, right? But we got a funny dynamic within ourselves that we got to come to terms with. You know what I'm saying? Because if we want the world to treat us as equals, we got to tear down some of these walls within our respective communities and teach and value each other as equals. You know, only time we get mad is when somebody else attacks us. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a big problem when we attack each other.
Nah,
You know what I'm saying? It's that mentality of,
we have a very, and I said it yesterday, and I don't want to sound crazy, but we have a set of rules that are very hypocritical within our own community, right? So motherfucker could be doing fucked up in the community, but we've been oppressed so long as black and brown people that even though we know this motherfucker, even though we love his music, we love, but we know he's fucked up. And you know what? We turn that cheek no matter what, because we like, nah, Bill Cosby he ain't do that. OJ ain't kill that lady. You know, and there's levels of that shit in our life, in our culture. You understand what I'm saying? Where we should learn to be more accountable of our own and be able to call out our own when they doing the wrong shit. You know what I mean? And not just behind this hypocritical shit. You know? And that's gotta stop too, but I know that's deep. That's a whole
other conversation.
Yeah, that's a deep one. That's like an onion.
We're talking about external shit right now. We're talking about external shit. We start getting into the internal shit, we'll be here all night.
Oh no, the internal shit is crazy, B. So but I say to myself, right? I looked at they fucking up. They fucked up the Bronx yesterday. I wasn't cool with them fucking up nothing. Not downtown, not the white areas. I swear to God, I wasn't cool. I'm older now, maybe. I wasn't cool with them fucking up nothing. Right? But now, okay. Now you're going to come in the hood, fuck up the whole Fordham Road. burn shit, break shit up. I'm like, yo, bro, this shit is crazy, man.
You know,
And
like I know, when you get like into the hood, right? Into the hood. You got people who only ever buy their sneakers and clothes from this store. They don't go to the mall. They don't go into the city. They only have only ever shopped for clothes, like for them, for their girl, for their kids. You know, I don't know if in New York if it's a Dr. J's or a Jimmy Jazz or whatever.
here in Miami, they looted Danny Shoe Galleries, the nicest guy in the world. If you
Danny's a
don't
great
have the
dude.
$10, he'll give you the shit. He'll give you anything. They wiped them out. Like, so there is no rules to nothing. They like, yo, it's a fuck that. We just gonna rob that shit.
But people always lash out at the people closest to them. Like, that's a human trait. Like, if you're angry on 1st Street, you're not going to drive all the way to 145th Street to release that anger. You're going to let that shit out before you get to 2nd Street. That's just that's the human condition.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mad right here, right now. I want to fight somebody right here, right now. It takes a lot to contain a certain level of anger and hold it and maintain it. Right? That takes a certain special kind of person. I got a problem with you. I'm finna handle it with you right here, right now. That's a human condition, right? That's natural. That's as natural as breathing. You know, like I know, it takes a while for somebody to play it cool, play it calm, wait for the right moment, the right place at the right time, and then make that move in a calculated way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a totally different way of moving. You know that, and I know that. There's only a few people.
Yep.
There's only a few people who can move like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be like, you know what? I know he tripped out right now. I know I got to do him something, but I'm gonna wait because right now, if I do it, I might get jammed up. Mm-hmm. But I know he like to go roller skating on Saturday.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. I've been in them situations.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't have to
I
get
had
too
problems
deep.
with dudes I couldn't wait to catch. And then when I caught them, it was at like a political or like a Michael Jordan event where, you know, Michael Jordan's there. Like, you know, everybody. And I'm like, yo, Joe, you're going to look like the worst guy in the world if you beat the brakes out this guy that you've been looking for 5 years. But he's in the right spot where you can't do it. Where you got to be like, all right, bro. Next time.
Yeah, you lucked up. But again, this is older us. This is us knowing how the world, you know, understanding the world a little bit different. Understanding repercussions. Understanding, you know, how many people are responsible for us. What our priorities are. You know what I'm saying? And so, but again, like 19, 20-year-old me riding around with a bunch of guns, some of them stolen, smoking formaldehyde, you know, smoking like fried dip, sherm, whatever you want to call it.
Screw, you really fucked up now.
Yeah, no, you got a problem. And I'm probably not even going to know what I did till 2 days later.
Facts. Nah, I know, I would have been there. Bun, you talking to the wrong guy. So it's horrible. And I'm trying to break it down to people, but I understand where they're coming from. They hurting. They ain't got no money. They never had shit. So they're like, yo, this is an opportunity to go rob some shit. I get it. But
and that's how I'm fighting back.
It is. So if we going George, and they keep robbing this shit, burning everything down, robbing, stealing, looting. It's like George. Looting, look, you know, and it changes the narrative. You know what I'm saying? It changes the narrative.
And that's what they count on. That's what they're counting on. Because they deal in misdirection anyway, right? The powers that be deal in misdirection anyway. You know, when the bad guy has the power to look like the good guy, you got problems. You know, so all they do is play it cool, play it calm, let you lash out, change the narrative. Now nobody's worrying about why you're stealing, why you're mad, why you're angry. All they care about is, well, you didn't have to do that. You shouldn't have done that. Look, if the DA arrested these dudes and charged these dudes when this happens, America would be cool as a fan right now.
You think when it happened?
Yeah.
Now, if they arrest them tonight or tomorrow, do you think all this will stop?
I don't think so, because it's the straw that broke the camel's back. You have to understand, and I'm sure you get it, this ain't just about George Floyd. Right? This is that, see, I told you, because there's video now. You know, and people tried to protest peacefully. They didn't want nobody to catch a knee. You're disrespecting the country. You're disrespecting the flag. You're disrespecting the troops. You know what I'm saying?
Kaepernick was kneeling peacefully. They got on him. They made a bigger deal about Kaepernick kneeling than anything else. And it's like, yo, he's kneeling, he's protesting in a positive way, but you have a problem with it. The shit is the craziest shit in the world.
We live in a wild time, Joe. We live in a wild time, man. That's why, as elders, you know, it's our duty and our responsibility to give it to them straight up, no chaser.
That's what
I'm
just
just
doing.
Like it is. And that's why I tell people, it's like, I'm 47, I'm a father, I got grandkids. Would I be out there rioting and looting right now? No. But I remember when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? I remember how I would have felt back then. I remember how I did feel back then when homies got in the hood, somebody got shot. I was pissed off, and it make you want to tear something up. I mean, look at when Ricky got killed and Boys in the Hood.
I wasn't a nice guy, but ain't nobody getting more police harassed than me. I'm willing to challenge people to the levels of ass whippings. I don't court humiliation. You know, I done had cops fucking fill up girls that I was with just because they was mad at me because they ain't catch me. You know, the girl with me in the passenger side, they feeling the up, like violating, like fuck you, all it. Like I done had every kind of harass, and I still try to look past that. I got friends that are police officers now. So at this point, it's like, man, we really got to be some remarkable people, right? To come from slavery, to come to civil rights, to have friends that are white, that we love as much as our family, because I got some best friends that are white. I'm not gonna lie to you, right?
Facts.
And we overlook all this police harassment to where I got friends that are cops. Like, yo, what's up, man? Yo, and don't nobody else want to overlook it. Don't nobody else want to look at us the same or respect us. Or like that quote that came out where it was like, I wish they loved black people the way they love our black culture.
I saw somebody say, America is lucky that black people only want equality and not revenge.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And hey, man, let me tell you something, man. I'm down with this. I hope it doesn't turn violent any longer. I've seen they shot up the precinct in the Bronx. They ran over cops. They beat up cops. They just, I want to.
Yeah, your hood is upside down right now.
They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. When it was their turn, they watching Minnesota. They watching Chi-Town. They watching. They couldn't wait. Yo, let me tell you something. You've been in the Bronx. You've been in New York a million times. The avenue they robbed Fordham Road is like the biggest shopping avenue we have is about 10 to 20 blocks. Yo, Bun B, I wouldn't steal a fucking hat from a store in Fordham Road. These guys went and robbed every store in Fordham Road. They couldn't wait.
It's crazy.
You understand what I'm saying? This is some shit where I wouldn't steal a lollipop from. They running through like beating up cops. I was like, yo, they couldn't wait to do this shit.
Pent up frustration. Pent up frustration. That's why I said this is deeper than people ain't tearing up America just because of George Floyd. It's because this is now you see what we're going through. Now we got proof of what y'all been doing. We've been having to eat that L all these other times, and we tired of that. Point blank, period. You know, and you still don't give us justice. Oh, fuck this, fuck all this then. Like, we tried to be peaceful. We prayed for justice. We begged people for justice, for arrest, for conviction. You ain't give us nothing. Now you see them murder people. You have everything you need, and you still ain't gonna give us justice? Oh, so it's really just fuck us then. That's how the streets took this. Oh, so it's really just fuck us out here. Nah, fuck you. And I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you.
All right, yo, Bumby, let's make light of this before you leave, because it's really a hip-hop show. It just turned into some radical shit because, you know, that's what's going on. We shifted from cheering people, everybody was dying, COVID-19, to what's going on. I'm scared of everybody catching the corona out there, too.
Yeah, we wanted to make, like, we gave our masks on site. So just in case people didn't come with masks, because everybody wants to be like, oh, so we ain't worried about corona now? Nah, it's not that we're not worried about corona now, but corona as a threat to people in America has only existed for 3 months. The police and racism as a threat to America has been there for 400 years. So we prioritizing the threat. You know what I'm saying? Because the police and the Ku Klux Klan and racism and slavery and Jim Crow, that shit's killed way more people than corona.
I have to explain to my daughter today, who's 14 years old, and she basically has lived her whole life like Little House on the Prairie. She's executive producer of this show, but she's my heart, but she don't know none of this shit. She knows she's Latina, she loves the culture, everything, but I had to explain to her the crack epidemic. She was like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, there was this drug, it came out. Supposedly it was cool, and people got hooked on it, and people started selling all their stuff, and people's fathers went to jail, and mothers became prostitutes, and this, and I'm breaking this all down to my daughter, trying to explain to her different versions of systemic racism, because you know where Freeway Ricky said he got it from.
Right.
So there have been multiple layers of attacks on people of black and brown descent. So, you know, this shit just went left. And they do it all the time. Like now it's Molly Percocet. The problem is, everybody liked the opioids.
Right. Right. You know what I'm saying? And an opioid drug addict is a lot different. The image, right, that's projected of what an opioid addict looks like is very different from the image they projected of what a crackhead looks like. Right? And there was a difference in those days between a cocaine addict, a person who did cocaine, and a person who did crack. There's a difference between opioid, and this here's the poor. Here's where it comes in, where it's insular, right? Where it's internal, because there's a big difference between an opioid addict and a meth head.
That's a fact,
right? You know what I'm saying? So it's all about perspective, but it's always created to a way where, you know, rich person's problems are understood. Right? Well, I could see how you got caught up in that. I could see how that became a problem. I get that. But when poor people have problems, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and all that dumb shit. Right? You know,
it's sad that this world's divided. You got
when we have drug addiction, they blame us. When they have drug addiction, they blame pharmaceutical companies.
Sue pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
Not only that, create rehabilitation. We don't want nobody to use drugs. We don't want
No.
nobody to use drugs. We don't want nobody to get addicted because it's destroying families, black, brown, white, Asian, whatever the case may be. But we just laying it out there for the people to decide for themselves. But and it's so crazy because they have these laws where you go to jail for crack, a little bit of crack, you get more time than cocaine. This is systemic racism.
Because we
And
already know
listen,
who's going to
guys,
get caught with cocaine and who's going to get caught with crack. It's a different offender who looks different in court, and the judge can identify with the cocaine addict.
we have to change these laws, and we have to honor people who are doing good things regardless of what ethnicity they're from, what religion, what creed of color, right? And the
Facts.
people who are doing bad, fuck them. You understand what I'm saying? And drugs is, to me, an illness. At this point, it's an illness. You know, I've had I never used drugs. And
Yeah,
I
I
have
know.
family members that use drugs, and I always used to look at them as weak. I used to look at them as selfish. I used to look, and then I realized, man, maybe that shit really, really just like, there's nothing they can do about it. They can't get out of that because it's an illness. It's an addiction they can't shake. It's that strong.
I got two brothers that have dealt with crack, right? Two brothers. Both of them still to this day, right? Over 25, 26 years of addiction. And, you know, there's always that time where shit comes up missing in the house, right? Now I go back to see my mom and I be like, where's the TV? And she don't want to tell me because she know how I'm going to react, right? And I get upset and I want to handle things a certain way because if it was anybody else in the world to take something from my mother, you got life problems. Now you got real problems. And every time my mother said the same, you can't do that. He's sick. He's ill. He's got a
Yeah.
problem. He just needs help, you know?
Bro, let me tell you, I'm going to end it with a famous story. My mother was the number lady. You might not know that in Houston, or maybe you do.
I'm aware of what it is.
All right, so in the South Bronx, there was something called illegal gambling numbers. And the whole hood would play, and they try to win their little number. I
It's
grew
hood
up in the
lottery.
number spot. Good. Illegal lottery before lotto, right?
Right.
So now that's where they got lotto from. So my mother, she would feed everybody chicken, drinks every week, the best. She had a best friend, then she passed away. She had a best friend, I'll say Miss Awida. And Miss Awida was a beautiful lady. Her whole family was beautiful, but she had a son that was mixed up on the drugs. So one day, I'm just a little kid, 8 years old, 9 years old. Her son comes up in the number spot and robs my mom, right? So now I'm hearing all these, yo, you know, Rolo, you know, this guy, he robbed Ruby, and oh my God. And the lady was so embarrassed, Miss Awida, because she's probably one of the best friends my whole entire family ever had. She's a beautiful lady. Our family are beautiful. And the very next day, I watched my mother, Rolo in my house, and my mother was feeding him food. And I remember I said, yo, Ma, isn't this the guy? And she said, Joey, he got problems. He's sick. He got illness. He's sick. His mother's a beautiful person. I know Rolo his whole life. And that always bothered me, but I realize now, you know, it's an illness. Before I let you go, Bun B, like I do everybody, let's just, in a good note,
Right.
your top five. Bun B's top five.
Wow. That's a great question because my top five are probably different from a lot of people's, right? So I'm going to speak to the people that I know made me want to be the MC that I am today. We're going to start with Scarface. You know, we got to start with Scarface. If you wanted to be a rapper in the era where I wanted to be a rapper and you come from where I'm from, that was who you wanted to, that was who you emulated.
It don't matter. Let me tell you something. God bless my brother Tone Montana, my best friend ever lived earth. He's dead. Rest in peace. I never believed, man. I hate to stop your top five. Keep Scarface there.
No, you're
But I
good.
was
You're
on
good.
the block. I was hustling. I was on 182nd and Creston on the block. And I watched my brother pull up in the truck. He had the Wrangler truck. This is 80s. And he was rushing. He was like, Joe. It almost looked like we were going to die. He's rushing in the car. He jumps out the car. Joe, please, come here, come here. And he has the sound system. He says, this is the most incredible shit. We in the Bronx, me. And he plays my mind playing tricks on me. And I'll never forget, we was wilding, dancing around the truck. Boom, 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 boom. We could. Yo, that shit was just so amazing. I'll let you continue with Scarface. I'm sorry. They say
No, I love that. I love that.
top
Because I remember
five.
having, even though they're not in my top five, I remember a moment like that when Bone Thugs came out. And I remember just every car in the hood playing this one record, and I had no idea what it was. And I pulled out, I hopped out. It was on Gulfway right before you get to Lewis Manor Projects. And I was like, what is this goddamn, because there used to be like a nightclub on one side and the fried chicken spot across the other side. I'm like, what is this goddamn song everybody's playing? And they're like, yo, that's Eazy-E new crew. Like, Bone Thugs and Harmony, this thuggish, ruggish Bone. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but I know
It's
that
the
feeling you're
thuggish,
talking
thuggish
about.
bone.
There was nothing like that when that came out. Nothing.
Nah, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month.
All right,
People won't believe me, but I got the record done with Biggie and Bone Thugs. You can ask Steve Lobel. Bone Thugs didn't want to do the song because they was cool with Tupac, but Biggie was like, yo, my brother, I got to do the song with them. And you know, me and Bone was on Relativity. We was family since day one.
right.
So when they get that Bone and Biggie, Bone, that's Joe Crack put that together. Continue, my brother. Bun B.
Joey Crack, the Forrest Gump of hip hop. He was
The
everywhere.
Forrest Gump of hip hop. No bullshit.
Number two, and I don't hear a lot of people give this brother credit, but in the moment, like, I wanted to be this dude, Chubb Rock.
1990, Chubb Rock jumps up on the scene.
On the
with
scene.
a bucket full of green. Remember
Yo,
Yusuf Hawkins when you walk in? He was
the
dumb nice.
DJ Innovator was the greatest song I'd ever heard in my life.
Oh my
Changed
God.
my life.
Let me
The
tell you
groove,
something.
the beat, I was like, this is ridiculous. Number three, and this was because I always been like,
Scarface, you got Bone Thugs.
number three, because I was always a big dude, and this dude was a big dude, but he was always clean. The ladies loved him. Heavy D, rest his soul.
Now, Heavy D's one of my idols. I'm a mixture. Fat Joe's a mixture of Heavy D, LL, and KRS. You know what I'm saying? But Heavy D taught me how to be fly. He gave me empowerment as a big boy to dress, have fun, dance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, he gave me the confidence.
Right,
So
that's the thing.
When I show my daughter pictures of Heavy D, my daughter tells me, yo, you jacked his style, Dad. Like, nah, I swear to God, I'm not lying. Yo, Dad, you jacked his style. You like, you know, damn, Dad, I didn't know you had to do Heavy D like that. Yo, my daughter tells me that shit, but yo, you ain't have to do Heavy D like that. You jack Heavy D style. As far as dressing and talking to the women, the overweight lover. You know what I'm saying? All right, so you got four. Who's the next one?
No, that's three. That's three. That's Scarface, Chubb Rock, Heavy D.
And then
Number
you got
four.
Bone.
Huh? No, I didn't say Bone. I was just talking about the moment.
You just saying honorary mention.
Yeah. I was just talking about how I remember a moment where somebody pulled up on the block playing music.
Chubb Rock, and Scarface.
Number four, you're going to love this because I'm going to York. I'm going to Digging in the Crates. Lord Finesse.
Hallelujah. There is a God.
Nobody, when I was coming up, nobody gave a fourth bar as good as Lord Finesse.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just
That's
period.
when
Like,
people love hip hop. That's when people would go just to hear the bars and the lines and finesse. I mean, well, you know, if it wasn't for Lord Finesse, it would be no Fat Joe. Like he inspired me, literally inspired me. You know, I was in the street. I never thought I could be a rapper or anything. So he grew up in my projects with me, and I would hang out with Finesse. And Finesse told me, "Yo, one day I'm gonna be a rapper." And next thing I know, I'm listening to Red Alert, and they playing Lord Finesse shit on the radio, and that totally changed my mind. And said to myself, "Yo, I can make it." Finesse did it. Rob did it. I could make it. And that's the only reason why you heard Fat Joe at all. You know what I mean? We all need to see that inspiration sometimes, like physically see it. You know, I had Steve Stott up here. He was like, Flojo was his. Because he was like, if this fat Puerto Rican kid can make a hit record and be ice grilled out with Flojo,
you
I
gotta
can
flow,
make it in the
Joe. You
business.
gotta flow, Joe. That was big. That was big. And number 5, people might, you know, obviously, it may seem like an obvious choice, but people have to realize this brother was a rapper before me in our little small town of 50,000 people. And it blew my mind that somebody that was literally walking the same streets I walked the same hallways in high school as I did, was in his bedroom making this music that sounded like it came from the biggest studios in the world. And that was Pimp. Like before Pimp was my partner, he was an inspiration because it blew my mind. I was like, yo, because up until that moment, I always felt like, you know, hip hop came from New York, and so it was something about the experience of being in New York and growing up in New York that made you good at rapping. And here it is, this same kid, he shop where I shop. He goes to school where I go to school. You know what I'm saying? We walk the same streets, the same hallways, but he sounds good like the dudes that are actually really doing it, that are signed to Code Chillin', right? That kind of thing, right? Because that
You
was
know,
what I
Pimp
wanted.
C
I
was
wanted
just
to be
a
signed to Code
superstar.
Chillin'. He was. He
Like,
always was.
just
And
a superstar.
It's funny you
Every
say
time I
that
seen him,
because
he was like a super. You know, he was
that's
ahead
the
of his
only
time.
way. And you can ask Hove when you see him. Hove is only ever, every time we interacted, right? And he would be around Pimp, and Pimp's, you know, he had this, you know, huge personality and everything. On the set of Big Pimp, and he pulls up in the Benz with Gloria. They go change and they put on the mink coats. And he would look at me and be like, yo, your brother's a fucking star. Like every
Yes.
time.
I would see Pimp C wherever I seen him, he was like a fucking star. Like, wherever I saw him, he was like dramatic, making a movie, this and this and that. I remember, you know, he's dead now, but I remember one time I was in Atlanta and he opened up the trunk. There was so many guns in that trunk. He could, that was Pimp C couldn't have one gun. He had to have 30 in the back of that. I said, this motherfucker going to jail. Let me get the fuck out of here.
He never lived life casually. I will say that. And some of us could live 4 or 5 lives and we'll never have done all the things that he did. But out of all of that, like he was, you know, there was a dynamic that existed with us, right? Like I was always big on technical skills, right? Because I always looked at the technical MCs, you know, the Lord Finesses, the Big Daddy Kanes, the Craig G's and Cool G Raps and guys like that. So I wanted to have that technical ability. His only concerns when he made music was that motherfucker, like, don't get me twisted. That was his whole thing. Like, don't get me twisted. This is who I am. This is who I represent. This is what I love. Don't get me fucked up out here.
He was ahead of his time.
Years ahead of his time. I still look at how dudes move now. And I'm like, close. You're close. I like the car. I like the jewelry. I like the attitude. I like the approach. But you on your best day in 2020 ain't even
You
close
ain't
to
Pimp
Pimp C
C.
in
Oh,
95.
there's a Pimp C now.
Pimp C in 1999 might have been the
Pimp
greatest
C
version.
2020, it'd be out of control.
Oh, it would. I don't know if the world could handle Pimp C in 2020. Like being able to tell you how he felt about you at any given time for the world to see.
Raw.
You know, you have no idea how many times dudes would call me, be like, "Yo, I'm not finna have your brother playing with me." Like, "Yo, he tell your brother he can't keep playing with me like that," and they would always feel a certain way, but then they knew they couldn't move. They knew it wasn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy. But nah, like you can listen to records with me and Pimp C and me solo, and you can see there's a big difference when I rapped with
The
him as
dynamic
opposed to me
together,
rapping
man. It's like
solo.
you know, it's a dynamic. It just go into each other. Same thing with me and Pun. Like, you know, that, to this day, that's when I was most happiest with being side by side with my brother. And shout out to Cali, he's on the check-in. Everybody's on the check-in, by the way, but Swiss on the check-in, my verse on the check-in, Ro Parish. So yeah, Khaled on here too. But Khaled was telling me the other day, he was like, yo, Fat Joe. Now Fat Joe, he said, but when you used to walk in with Big Pun, he said that shit was different, bro. He said, yo, that shit different. Y'all was in the same thing, Bun B, Pimp C, no matter what you do.
We
No
check
matter
all
how much
boxes.
success you have.
When we walk with our brothers as a collective, we check every box.
That's right.
We check every box.
Yo, Bun, I thank you for giving me your time, my brother. You know I love you, man. Stay up. Keep the fight up. I'm here. You already know what it is. This is about that Basquiat. You know what I'm saying? Static Select on the check-in, too. The mayor on the check-in. Yo, we gonna go see some sneakers with Mayor. I brought out the Kobe's because this is what started the whole 2020. And, you know, ever since Kobe passed, I feel like the world is shifting a whole nother way. You know what I'm saying?
That's fact.
So
you know what, Joe? That's
Kobe.
facts. That's facts. Like, it's almost like Kobe died and we're seeing the decline of Western civilization.
All right, Bun B, I love you, man. Be safe, my brother.
I love you, Joe Crack. Thank you for having me, brother.
Up. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Bun B, legendary. Rest in peace, Pimp C. Houston and this motherfucker. Big George, rest in peace. They was out there today. Stevie Jackson was out there today. We gonna keep talking this real shit. It ain't for everybody. And if it ain't for you, best thing you could do is just sit back and enjoy that real talk so you can have some type of understanding or insight. Because when I come on here, I just speak the truth. Bun B really speaks the truth. Tomorrow night, we got an even bigger show. Kenny Sway, what's up, baby? Hold on, let me see Kenny Sway. Hold up. It's been a long time since Kenny. Yo, Kenny.
What's up, my guy?
Take us out of here. God, we put God first. Take us out of here, Kenny. Let me hear some shit quick.
That if I could change the world, I would. I'll do it. And if I could save every boy and girl, I'll pursue it. We don't have to live in fear. We're all a part of God's great plan. I hope you understand that we have till the end. All we gotta do is love each other. All we gotta do is love. All we gotta do is love each other. All we gotta do is love. That's something I wrote, and I'm gonna send it to you, Joe, all right?
Kenny Sway, you already know. It's a rock moment. God bless you, man. You've been missing. We're gonna get you back some more.
Let's go.
All right, Kenny. Yeah, everybody out there, that's Kenny Sway. That's my guy right there. Put God first. Trust in God. I see you, Ruby Junco. Trust in God. God is always going to have us. I'll see you tomorrow. It's going to be the biggest show in the universe. If you want to know what's really going on, stay tuned tomorrow. I'm going to give you the OG version, then the youthful version. But don't come on here if you don't want to learn, if you don't want to see how we really feel out here. Peace, y'all. Stay up. The big show. And you don't know who I know.